The next session here at Abhirang is titled Politics, Victory and Loss. We'll find Mr. Abhigyan Prakash, Ms. Jayshree M. Sundar, Mr. Brajesh Rajput in conversation with Dr. Sandeep Shastri. Can we please welcome them with a huge round of applause? Mr. Abhigyan Prakash is Senior Executive Editor of ABP News and a columnist.
Please don't read this. This profile has been made by Wikipedia for generations, and it is factually 100% wrong.
What do you want us to say, sir?
I'm just an author and a journalist, that's it. This is ended here.
So Mr. Abhigyan Prakash is an author.
Each time they pull out the wrong one for last 10 years and read out.
I'm really sorry, sir.
When I was with NDTV, they might have then written ABP News.
So we have amongst us Mr. Abhigyan Prakash, who is a senior journalist and author. And we also have Ms. Jayshree M. Sundar, who is a gold medalist from University of Mumbai and an MBA from Nalal Bajaj Institute of Management Studies. She was Senior Associate Director and Executive Board Member at the end of her tenure at Lintas, where she handled many high-profile clients, and went on to join Leo Burnett as President North for the next 5 years. She has now transitioned to the world of academics and teaches marketing courses at leading business schools all over India. Mr. Brajesh Rajput is a senior special correspondent with ABP News since 2002, with a PhD in News Channel, contents from Makhanland University, National Journalism University, Bhopal. Mr. Rajput has 3 decades of experience in both print and television journalism, with several awards and books to his credit, with Off the Camera being his 5th book. Dr. Sandeep Shastri is a political scientist who is the Vice Chancellor of Jagran Lake City University, author of a book on Lal Bahadur Shastri. Dr. Shastri specializes in the study and analysis of Indian politics with a special focus on elections. A consultant to the United Nations, World Bank, and the Forum of Federations, Dr. Shastri has delivered lectures in over 50 countries in all the 6 inhabited continents. We welcome all of you today. Thank you so much. I now hand over the session to the moderator.
Thank you. Again, on behalf of all the panelists, I'd like to thank the members of our audience who have joined us for this discussion this evening. I'd also like to thank the Bhopal Literary and Art Festival for having us here. And the theme of this session is extremely interesting and exciting. It's on elections, it's on victories, and it's on defeats. And we have 3 individuals who have seen multiple elections, multiple victories, multiple defeats. But I'd like to start with Jayshree ji, because Jayshree's book, Jayshree ji last year came out with a book which is a discussion on the advertisement campaign rolled out 2 decades ago. And its title is Don't Forget 2004. So I don't know if Jayshree ji is hinting to anybody in the elections of 2024 that don't forget 2004. And of course, the subtitle is Advertisement Secrets of an Impossible Electoral Victory. Because she said, we were tasked to halt a bullet train. Now, ma'am, to start with you, I would begin with where you end the 18th chapter. The book has 19 chapters. In the 18th chapter, you make a point that what you achieved for the Congress party in the 2004 elections in terms of their advertisement, you mentioned 3 things in that. We got the strategy right, as we understood our customer by reaching their heart and mind equally. So would you like to start this discussion by elaborating that point?
Okay, so can you hear me? Is this? Yeah. So we go back to 2004 and the situation is exactly like what it is today, 20 years later. Congress has had a drubbing in 3 state elections. Currently, they've lost 4 out of 5. Same position in the month of January, they called for an agency pitch. They called 8 agencies. We are the one that wins the pitch after 1 month of 25 rounds of presenting up and down. And I'm sure many of you remember the great India Shining campaign, which had been pounding away at consumers, you know, full page ads, 1-minute television commercials, everything looking very pretty, them talking about feel good factor. Do you remember that? Because it was like all the financial parameters are very good, the stock exchange is at an all-time high, there's stirring of peace with the neighbors, the nuclear program is, you know, underway, and things like that. So it all resulted in India shining. And lots of money had been spent. The chattering classes in urban India were very excited. And in that, these guys, Congress party out of power, 9 years, much like it is now, say that, you know, we need a strategy. And AICC headquarters were empty. Nobody used to go there. They were broke. And in the middle of that, we're supposed to find a strategy to, you know, overcome India shining. So as they say, data is the new oil. You know, that's something that people talk about today. But 20 years ago, that's the first thing I told my team, that we're not going to sit in an air-conditioned room and decide a strategy for every Indian 18 plus. Because that is what a political target audience is. It's not like a soap or a detergent or a shampoo, that it's some woman with curly hair and, you know, end of the month. And next month, if she doesn't buy this month, she'll buy next month. No. In an election, as he said, the action takes place on one day, which is the voting day. And at that time, we had a 1 billion population. So we had about 680, 700 million people above the age of 18 plus. And what were we going to do to nudge them to go out to vote on that voting day? Now, there was a first piece of data that we looked at, which was that urban India goes 40% people go to vote at that time. I don't think it's increased too much. So the chattering classes in urban India were very excited with India shining. But the first thing we said is, where are the pain points? Is there any consumer that is suffering, that has pain? And we said, why don't we go and do a research in semi-urban and rural India and ask people, have you heard of India shining? And in Hindi, they were advertising it as Bharat Uday. So person upon person, and we did this interview on camera because we didn't want people to think we had fudged the details. People would say, India shining? Wo kya hai? And then we figured out, they found that their lives were absolutely miserable. And we said, this is the target audience. So to go back to your point, you have to talk to a consumer and you have to talk to their mind and to their heart. Now, India Shining was talking to the mind because it was a manufacturer statement coming.
He looked so youthful, so I don't know if he was around at the 2004 campaign. Oh, okay. Now, 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 but I go back to where Jayshree ji left and then go to Abhigyan. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll go. Then I'll go to Brajesh ji first on that. Brajesh ji, India Shining was a campaign slogan. I'm making 2 points and then getting your reaction. I heard one leader tell me after the 2004 elections, India was shining, but Bharat was not shining. For those Indians for whom this country was Bharat, that was not shining. And we see an interesting reversal happening today, 20 years later. I also draw your attention to Vajpayee ji's comment after the election that जो जीते उन्हें मालूम नहीं वो क्यों जीते, जो हारे उन्हें मालूम नहीं वो कैसे हारे. Would you want to respond to that as you saw it happening at that point of time?
सर मैंने मध्य प्रदेश के पिछले 2 इलेक्शंस पे 2 किताबें लिखी हैं। 2013 इलेक्शन पे चुनाव राजनीति रिपोर्टिंग, 2013 इलेक्शन पे चुनाव है बदलाव का, और ये वाला जो चुनाव है इस पे भी कोशिश कर रहा हूँ लिखने की। तो मैंने मध्य प्रदेश के इलेक्शन को बहुत करीब से देखा है, मगर मैं आपके पॉइंट पे आता हूँ। सन 2004 में आडवाणी जी ने अपना कैंपेन शुरू किया था और जो रैली निकाली थी वो उनकी इंडिया शाइनिंग वाली, तो उस रैली को देख के हम लोगों को लगता था कि बीजेपी कितने आगे है। कांग्रेस अभी कुछ तैयारी कर ही नहीं पाई है, इन्होंने कैंपेन शुरू कर दिया है, आडवाणी अपनी गाड़ी लेके निकल गए हैं, मध्य प्रदेश में रीवा से एंटर हुए थे, यहाँ राजमार्ग होते हुए सब जगह निकल गए, तो लगा था कि बीजेपी कितने आगे है। पर जैसे कि मैम ने कहा कि उन्होंने दिमाग पे काबू किया था या दिमाग पे हिट किया था कि इंडिया इज़ शाइनिंग, बट उनका जो बात थी वो दिल तक नहीं पहुंची थी। तो उस समय भी यही हुआ था कि पता ही नहीं लगा था कि इस समय ये समझना बड़ा मुश्किल होता है कि लोग समझ में नहीं आते कि चुनाव कैसे पलट जाता है, और ये हर चुनाव एक चुनाव दूसरे चुनाव से बिल्कुल अलग होता है। हम मध्य प्रदेश के यदि अभी की बात करें, जो पिछला चुनाव अभी गुजरा है मध्य प्रदेश में, लग रहा था कि कांग्रेस एकदम जीतने ही वाली है। कांग्रेस का जो भी दिल्ली से जर्नलिस्ट आता था कहता था कि 175 सीटें, 175 से कम होते होते 120 तो सीट जीतेंगी हैं। मैम सामने बैठी हुई हैं, कांग्रेस की स्ट्रेटजी से बहुत करीब से जुड़ी रही हैं। हम सबको भी लग रहा था कि कांग्रेस तो बहुत जीतने के कगार पे ही है, मगर जैसे कि चुनाव अब लड़ा जाता है मार्केटिंग एजेंसियों के दम पे, एडवर्टाइजिंग के दम पे, तो इस हर चुनाव में एकदम डिफरेंट होता है। हर चुनाव पिछले चुनाव से बिल्कुल अलग गेम प्लान, अलग पिच, अलग टोन पे लड़ा जाता है। तो 2004 का चुनाव भी ऐसा ही था कि बीजेपी समझती रही कि बस हम तो जीत ही रहे हैं, जैसा यहाँ पे कांग्रेस समझती रही कि इस बार तो 2024 में हम जीत ही रहे हैं, मगर कब ज़मीन के नीचे से हट जाती है दरी पता नहीं लगता। तो बात वही है कि जहाँ आपने यदि दिमाग पर, दिल के साथ दिमाग पे काबू पे करेंगे तभी। और यहाँ जो मध्य प्रदेश के इलेक्शन में जो दिल पे चोट की थी बीजेपी ने, वो थी लाडली बहना योजना, कि महिलाओं के दम पे महिलाओं को अकाउंट में पैसे पहुँचाए और बार बार उनको परस्यू किया, देखो पैसे आए कि नहीं, पैसे आए कि नहीं। और फिर लगातार एक कैंपेन ये भी चला कि यदि वो आएंगे तो वो पैसे नहीं देंगे, हम तो पैसे दे ही रहे हैं। तो सर ये बहुत सारी बातें होती हैं। तो 2004 में भी ऐसे हुआ था, लग रहा था जीत जाएगी बीजेपी, बहुत आगे है कैंपेन में, स्ट्रेटजी में, इंडिया शाइनिंग, भारत उदय, मगर निकल गए।
अभिज्ञान जी, इसी बात पे मैं आपके पास आता हूँ। आपके अनुभव में चुनाव में हार या चुनाव में जीत, आपके एक्सपीरियंस में कोई एक उदाहरण हम सब के साथ आप शेयर करेंगे जो आपके मन में इमीडिएटली आती है जीत या हार के बारे में?
2004 महामूर्खता का बीजेपी का कैंपेन, और मैं सरकार और बाप जी के बहुत करीब था, सॉरी अटल जी के। तीसरे फेज़ में उन्होंने मुझे खुद बता दिया था और प्रमोद के ऊपर बहुत चिल्लाए थे, क्योंकि ये जसवंत सिंह पकड़ के लाए थे, ये इकोनॉमिक टाइम्स का कैंपेन था। तो मैंने एक दिन अटल जी के, और प्राइम मिनिस्टर थे, मैंने सीधे उनको चेंबर से फ़ोन किया। तो मैडम, असल में क्या होता है ना कि अब जर्नलिज्म नहीं बचा है, पत्रकारिता नहीं बची है, गहराई नहीं बची है, अब एजेंसियां बची हैं, ये करोड़ों की पिच देती है। जो प्रशांत किशोर बताता है, पॉलिटिशियन में इतना दम ही नहीं बचा, कन्विक्शन ही नहीं बचा, वो उससे सुन रहा है चुनाव कैसे जीतना है, उसको खुद मालूम ही नहीं है पॉलिटिशियंस को कि चुनाव अब कैसे जीतना है। तो 2004 में ये लोग अपना पूरा लेके ड्रामा नौटंकी लोगों ने पिच कर दिया। तो एक घटना हुई, घटना ये हुई कि अनिल कपूर एक हमारे दोस्त है, एक्टर है, तो उनका लखनऊ में नाच गाने का एजी ओजी टाइप का कैंपेन रखवाया गया, और यही प्रमोद की हरकतें थी सब महाजन की। तो बाप जी को मालूम चला, और मतलब अटल जी की क्या कंस्टिट्यूएंसी में अगर अनिल कपूर के एजी ओजी करके चुनाव जिताने की नौबत है तो इससे अच्छा पहले विड्रॉ कर लो। तो वो बहुत नाराज़ हुए, उन्होंने ब्रजेश मिश्रा को बुलाया, प्रमोद को बुलाया कि ये भाई क्या है। तो वो रातों रात, मैं इसलिए ये घटना बता रहा हूँ क्योंकि वो रातों रात कैंपेन कैंसिल हुआ। अनिल कूपर, जो मतलब हम लोग उनको कूपर बोलते हैं, तो हमारे अच्छे मित्र हैं, तो उन्होंने हमें फ़ोन किया कि भाई क्या हुआ। तो मैंने कहा मुझे कुछ नहीं पता क्या हुआ, लेकिन ये मुझे ज़रूर पता है कि ये इलेक्शन अब बीजेपी नहीं जीतेगी, बिकॉज इफ यू आर नीडेड टू गो एंड कैंपेन फॉर Atal Bihari Vajpayee to win the Lucknow seat, which out of 7 MLA seats has 5 confirmed MLA seats for the BJP, there's something dramatically gone wrong. So what happens when you ask this question कि चुनाव जीते और हारे कैसे जाते हैं? फाइन प्रिंट में बहुत कम मुद्दे होते हैं. एक तो इमोटिव इश्यूज होते हैं जो बीजेपी की खासियत है. या उसको लेना देना ही नहीं, बेरोजगारी, महंगाई, फलाना ढिमाका, उसका मतलब ही नहीं. ठीक, उसको वो लाडली बहन योजना ढूंढ के लाएगी, बहुत अच्छी बात है, बट इशू हैज टू बी इमोटिव. अब 2004, if you study it analytically as a student of politics, is also a very unique election for an election to be fought on the basis of the fact that we've done development. अब इस हिंदुस्तान में जब से ये देश ने जन्म लिया है, कुछ मुद्दे ऐसे हैं जिनका कितने सालों में समाधान होगा मैं भी नहीं जानता. मेरी थ्योरी बड़ी स्पष्ट है, स्पष्टता बोलता हूं, सुनिए. इंडिया रन्स ऑन 3 C's: कास्ट, करप्शन एंड कम्युनलिज्म. हिंदुस्तान का कोई एनालिस्ट साबित कर दे कि ये 3 C's पे इंडिया नहीं चलता, तो मैं उसकी बात मानने को तैयार हूं. तो ये सारी प्रॉब्लम हमेशा रहेंगी, बेरोजगारी, करप्शन. तो आप कभी क्यूमुलेटिव डेवलपमेंट की तस्वीर बनाकर पिच कर ही नहीं सकते किसी इलेक्शन को. और यही थी बीजेपी की गलती. कांग्रेस का प्लस पॉइंट, कांग्रेस का कोई योगदान नहीं था. बीजेपी की गलती से बीजेपी 2000 चुनाव 4 का हारी, और उस गलती का आंशिक लाभ कांग्रेस के नंबर्स में बता सकता हूं, और बाकी कांग्रेस आई कैसे वो भी बता सकता हूं. उसका आंशिक लाभ लेके कांग्रेस एक बड़े कोएलिशन को बना के 2004 में बैठ गई. बिकॉज इन इंडिया यू कैन नेवर सेल अ हैप्पी स्टोरी बिकॉज योर कंट्री इज नॉट येट बीन हैप्पी.
Thank you so much. I'm sure the first round has satiated everybody's appetite for more. I'm going to now change the format of round 2. I'm going to raise a question with Jayshree ji, and at the end of that, she will raise a question to either of the panelists, who will then raise a question. So this will be a round robin among us of raising questions. Nandini ji, this question has come up that today campaigns are managed by advertising agencies. The politicians don't have a hand to play in campaigns. It is these agencies which have a hand to play in the campaign. In your 2004 campaign, how much was the involvement of the politicians on the ground? Or did they all go by what, as an advertisement agency, you all said?
Yeah, so I think we're talking about two things. Prashant Kishore and people like that are political strategists. Okay, so they analyze everything. We had done the communication strategy, but to do communication, you really have to understand the big picture. So the campaign that we went with, which was India shining, lekin aam aadmi ko kya mila? That was the thing. That was the line. That was the line that got the currency. That is what fired up people. And anti-incumbency is something that you can go on and on. That's a negative campaign, as he said. India's never happy, so keep fanning negativism. But we did not do that. We did a stark black and white quarter-page campaign as compared to full-page ads, and put it there. No models, nothing, real people. So if you're saying that there is women get jobs in the Panchayati Raj because it's something Rajiv Gandhi had started, then we had women in the Panchayati Raj. We had those pictures, nobody modeling. Okay, so that is what we attempted to do, and make it really real, really stark. And so, sorry, what were you wanted me to?
And I wanted
Yeah,
to raise
so
a question.
the question you asked was how much did they listen? Well, let me tell you, we became a part of the war room. It was a very sad war room. Because, you know, Pramod Mahajan, as he talked about him, there were these pictures of these fabulous war rooms with lots of computers, people busy, like, you know, working. And the Congress had 99 South Avenue, a 2-bedroom little flat of somebody's where there were some broken cups and saucers. defeated body language, naturally 9 years out of power. But as things moved from January, February, March, April, and the exit polls started giving out different kind of feedback that things are not looking so good for them. To answer your question, we became part of the war room. Everything that we would suggest was listened to. It was a very good team from that side. And people used to ask, oh, is there bribery? Are they asking you for things like that? Actually, our experience was very clean with the team that we dealt with. I worked a lot directly with Mrs. Sonia Gandhi. Rahul and Priyanka had just come into politics at that time, so they were really not the kingpin, it was her. And I think she galvanized the party. At that time, the way she rallied, I saw that lady, 10, 15, 17 rallies a day. And when someone leads from the front, then the whole party gets galvanized into action. And that is not
That's very
happening
true.
now. What is this INDIA? Who is doing the rallies? Who is taking charge? So when people say it's exactly the same, yeah, but today there's even that faction and there's a lot of confusion. So let me ask Abhigyan my question as per his format. Let's cut to 2024 because I'm sure everyone in the audience would like to know. We've discussed, I think, India's most epic year, 2004, when, the Wall Street Journal said this is when political branding has come to India. But what would you say, what do you think is the outlook for 2024?
No, firstly, I totally agree with you on Sonia Gandhi. It's very difficult to admire an Indian politician, but that woman was hounded, bad languaged by top BJP politicians, Pramod, Modi, and just completely considered against Vajpayee. Who's she? She's nobody, foreign origin, just dismiss it. But I still want to tell Priyanka Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi, I met him sometimes back that, if you want to see anybody fight an election
See your mother.
with a see your mother. And with the machinery, coming back to 24, with the machinery the BJP manages to create. Now, what is BJP's great strength? Two things. One, of course, is the Sangh, the RSS, that provides the backup and the people to run for them and the strategy. Second, it is creating massive optics around the issue it wants. Okay. Now, 22nd January, Pran Pratishtha. Basically, kuch nahi, garabhagrah banaye. The consultant is a very dear friend of mine. I can tell other stories also about that. But the way, with the media on their side, the traditional old media, so with the way they'll create the optics around it, so to an extent that uh, they know, and I've mentioned that in my book also. I'll tell you a story related to it, and it's so relevant to 2024. The chapter on the BJP in my book says Ram Bharose. Nothing wrong? Till date, Ram Bharose. No new strategy, nothing new has ever come from that. That's the core, nothing wrong. That's the reality. So in Palanpur, when it was being decided that why Ayodhya, not Kashi and Mathura, so Morupan Pingle, he was a very great RSS ideologue, and Palanpur was a small place in Himachal Pradesh. When all these people sat together, Vajpayee was not a part of it, and Advani and all these people. I mentioned all the whole history in the book, how Ayodhya was created. So it was then decided as part of optics कि अयोध्या में हिंदू पूजा करने नहीं जा सकते अंदर. So let's take this issue. That's BJP's strategy. So coming to 2024, it is no different to Palanpur then. Whether it is caste census or whether it is, the entire Ram Mandir issue, for me, 2024 is an 89 election. But BJP was much, much bigger in size, in its optics, campaigning. So it's a 89 election. That's how I look at it. But my last and final point is that, we all know the psephology. I'm not going to get into numbers. It can get very boring. But broadly, you should understand 38% is of BJP and 62% belongs to the rest. And when you go and tell authors and writers and political analysts outside India, they're shocked that in India you can become a prime minister without even getting 50% popular votes. Such is the population issue of the country. That's simple psephology. He's cracked that code, and we will keep moving on. The 62% has not yet cracked the code. They may tomorrow morning do it, I don't know. So, 24 election is already built around the fact that no real issue should come up. No real issue should be discussed. There has to be no talk on unemployment, no talk on failed corona situation, no talk on bodies lying in the Ganges. So many issues of the government. Economy, of course, half the world doesn't understand, so you pass away economy as anything that you want. Babus are fantastic. Babus who sit in the North Block and South Block can churn out numbers, as if something magical has happened to this country. So it's already prepared. The ground is prepared. You just won Madhya Pradesh election, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, all on a very emotive environment. So this is simple BJP strategy. This will continue. There will be nothing talked which is of any element of gravitas and seriousness. They won't, because that works for them.
Abhigyan, any question for either Jayshree or Brajesh? Yours.
No, my question to Jayshree is that actually I'm also a little tiny ex-advertising, so I have a lot of friends in advertising. But when you start treating politics as a brand, or manage a campaign as a brand management, how clinically can you do it, or what is the sensitivity you can bring it on the table? Because Indian politics is emotional at the end of the day.
Absolutely, 100%. If you don't get, we say mind, heart, and muscle, okay? So, mind you can keep saying, but if you're not tugging at the heartstring, the muscle you want is the action, and that is the day the person goes to vote. And when the rural consumers going 70, 80, 90% of them, they feel very empowered on that day. They go to vote. So in the 2004 elections, we said, let's not play in the red ocean where there are a lot of fish and they're biting each other and there's blood. Let's swim far away into the blue ocean, which is 90% of our money was regional. We spent on, so if it was in Tamil Nadu, a Tamil ad ran. Or if it was in Punjab, it was in Gurumukhi or things like that. It was black and white, it was regional, it was language, and it was all these issues. Actually, in advertising, you have to, in communication or in any brand, you have to have your target audience. Who are you talking to? And what is your positioning? If you get it wrong, the whole thing goes wrong. So who were the target audiences we thought that were hurting? One was the farmers, because farmer loan rates were very high, excise duties were high, and suicides were high. 48.5% of the population is women. No one is talking to them. They're taken sometimes, for rallies, or how many of them get tickets? Okay? Unemployed youth, because when we looked at secondary data, we found 43.5% people registered at the employment exchange, no jobs, though 1 crore jobs were promised. And the petty middle class investor who had lost their lifetime savings in the US 64 scam and the Indira Vikas Patra scam. Wiped out. So we said, here are 4 groups of people for who India is not shining. So the whole thing is actually very scientific. At the end of the day, you see an ad and you think it's very nice. But there's a lot of stuff that goes behind the scenes in forming a strategy and then sticking with that right from the beginning to the end of the election. So that is what we did, and that is what took us home. And it wasn't just anti-incumbency. Halfway through, we started what we used to call a positive campaign, which was Sadbhavna or Vikas. And as he's saying, it is the same 4. So I just saw Modi ji's statement given 2 weeks ago saying we are going to target 4 target groups. I can show it to you right now, it's in my phone. We are going to talk to the farmer, we are going to talk to women, we are going to talk to the poor, so middle class investors, and we are going to talk to youth. Same 2004 story.
To answer your point, just to add, she rightly mentioned what Modi said. The one new thing which has happened, now this has to be credited to Modi and his thought process, is the new welfare voter. Yeah. So how he's focused in the new welfare schemes, etc., etc. You know, obviously taking money from the taxpayer and giving it to them, but those are debatable issues. But he's just surely created a new electorate of a unique type aligned to the BJP right now, naturally not aligned to any other party, which is built on the welfare schemes he's launched. Right. So that I see as the new electorate in Indian politics.
ब्रजेश जी, आपने मध्य प्रदेश के काफ़ी चुनावों के बारे में लिखा है, तो इस राज्य के चुनावों के बारे में और जो चुनाव अभी हुआ है उसके बारे में हार और जीत के दृष्टिकोण से कुछ आप हमारे ऑडियंस से कहना चाहेंगे?
नहीं, निश्चित ही हर चुनाव एकदम अलग होता है और ये चुनाव तो इतना कुछ सिखा के गया है कि हर आदमी हैरान है कि ऐसा कैसा चुनाव है कि जो इस बुरी तरीके से कांग्रेस आ रही। जैसे कि पिछले 2 चुनाव से हम लोग देख रहे हैं कि चुनाव पे एजेंसियां हावी हो गई हैं। पिछला चुनाव बीजेपी इसलिए हारी थी कि बहुत सारी एजेंसियां हावी हो गई थी मध्य प्रदेश में। बहुत सारी एजेंसियां, कोई ऐड कैंपेन चला रहा है कुछ, मगर इस बार हम लोगों ने जो देखा बीजेपी ने एकदम टारगेट 1 to 1 मैन टू मैन मार्किंग की है। एक एक बीजेपी का जो दफ्तर है, हमको जो बीजेपी का दफ्तर नीचे दिखता था, ऊपर कुछ और होता था। किसी भी बीजेपी के दफ्तर पे आप यदि हम खड़े हो जाते थे तो सुबह लगता था, कई दफ़ा हम लोग को सुबह 6 बजे 7 बजे लाइव करवाने जाना पड़ता था, तो लगता था कि तो हम किसी कॉल सेंटर में खड़े हैं। नई उम्र के लड़के लड़की अपना बैग लेके चले आते थे, लैपटॉप लेकर ऊपर साइड से सीढ़ियों से ऊपर चढ़ जाते थे। तो हर बीजेपी के दफ्तर में, हर जिले के बीजेपी के दफ्तर में अभिज्ञान कॉल सेंटर्स खुले हुए थे। ये वो कॉल सेंटर्स थे जिनके पास हितग्राहियों की लिस्ट होती थी। हाँ, ये नई चीज़ है, एकदम नई चीज़ है। तो इसको कहें मैन टू मैन मार्किंग। हाँ, तो उन्होंने एक पूरा वोट बैंक बनाया हुआ था हितग्राहियों का, और एक एक हितग्राही के पास वो फ़ोन करते थे कि आपको इस योजना का लाभ मिला, उस योजनाओं का लाभ मिला। तो योजनाओं के लाभ के साथ साथ उनको दूसरी योजना के लाभ बताते थे और साथ ही साथ डराते भी थे। जो मुझे मालूम चला कि वो डराते भी थे कि अरे ऐसा हो जाएगा तो वैसा नहीं होगा। हालांकि कांग्रेस ने 1500 का कहा है, हम आपको 1200 दे रहे हैं, मगर वो तो वादे कर रहे हैं, हम तो आपको दे ही रहे हैं। और फिर आखिरी दिनों में वो ये भी कहने लगे थे कि अब ये जो होगा, अब तो शायद कांग्रेस आएगी तो आपको वो चीज़ें नहीं मिलेंगी। मगर जिस बड़े पैमाने पर एजेंसियाँ हावी हो गई हैं पूरे चुनाव पर, लोग कांग्रेस सरकार के हारने का, कांग्रेस पार्टी के हारने का ये कारण भी बता रहे हैं कि कमलनाथ जी ने इस बार पूरी एजेंसियों को एक तरफ कर दिया था। सुनील कोनगुरु जिस तरीके से कर्नाटक का चुनाव जीत के आए थे, उनसे बड़ी उम्मीद बन गई थी। एआईसीसी ने उनको यहाँ भी भेज दिया था कि आप पूरी स्ट्रेटजी यहीं बनाइए। उन्होंने शुरुआत में बिल्कुल वैसा ही कैंपेन यहाँ मध्य प्रदेश में शुरू किया जैसा कर्नाटक में शुरू हुआ था, 40% कमीशन, 50% कमीशन। मगर धीरे धीरे वो कमलनाथ को या पूरी कांग्रेस को उस तरीके से मोल्ड नहीं कर पाए जिस तरीके से वो कांग्रेस को कर्नाटक में चला पाए थे। उसके अलावा यहाँ बीजेपी जिस तरीके से स्ट्रांग थी और जिस तरीके से आरएसएस, बीजेपी के वर्कर्स ने तमाम तरीके की जो मेहनत की थी, उतनी मेहनत कांग्रेस कर नहीं पाई थी। कांग्रेस को लगा ये उसका जीता हुआ चुनाव है और पूरी एंटी इनकम्बेंसी उसके पक्ष में आने को तैयार है। मगर बीजेपी ने पूरा जीता हुआ चुनाव अपनी मेहनत, अपनी प्लानिंग और अपनी ताकत के दम पर पूरा कांग्रेस के छीन के ले गई, और कांग्रेस अभी तक हैरान है और इस बात से परेशान है कि आखिर ये हो क्या गया।
I want to ensure at least 15 minutes for questions and responses from our guests. So I would invite anybody from the audience to please raise a question, but I request 2 small norms. One, let's announce our name, and let's also be very clear as to who is our question addressed to, and if we could be brief in our question. First here and then our friend at the back there. Yes, sir.
My question is this live henna scheme of
और पास में लाइए थोड़ा जी।
Hello, I'm Colonel Tomar. Hello, I'm Colonel Tomar. I'm a criminologist.
डरा दिया आपने तो.
So my question to ma'am is that this Ladli Behna scheme, I think which is responsible for BJP victory in Madhya Pradesh, is there a possibility that Modi government will implement it at the national level? And my second question is, this fear of ED will make India faction uh, join Bharatiya Janata Party.
Yeah, I know. See, I mean, I think every voter has, I mean, every party has understood that they should address the female voter because she's no longer what she used to be. Women have really come up in this country. Priyanka Gandhi tried it in the UP elections. She had a differentiated campaign which was addressing women. Of course, it didn't work, but it was different. And it will probably take 20 years of going down that path for somebody, for it to get into people's head. But to answer your question directly, I do feel that there will be a lot of inclusiveness of the female voter this time. There will be direct talk to them also. The ED question, you answer that.
You said, will there be ED attacks on different people? That's what you mean?
No, will make India faction go to BJP?
No, that's not possible. That's not even a hypothetical question. To me, I dismiss it totally. India, the entire coalition is not going to walk into BJP because of ED. Selective people might go. That's a different story. That's how politics. In politics, you use agencies instrument, and it's been done for years. And Congress also did it. It was no doodh ki dhuli Congress. Same as the BJP. That's also no doodh ki dhuli. You are in politics. You get a chance. You hit your opponent. Instrument could be anything.
ये लाडली बहना योजना इसलिए ज़्यादा इम्प्रेसिव रही क्योंकि ये जो नए टर्म शुरू हुआ ना, डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट ट्रांसफ़र, इसमें क्या हुआ है कि बीच के सब लोगों को हटा दिया है. तो मोदी जी ने भी शुरू किया है, हितग्राहियों के खातों में सीधे पैसा जाता है, नो करप्शन, डायरेक्ट ट्रांसफ़र. तो महिलाओं के खाते में सीधे पैसा आ रहा है, बीच में कोई नहीं है, ना उसका पति है, ना सरकार है, ना अधिकारी है. और कोशिश की गई ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोगों को दो, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोगों को मिलना चाहिए, सारे बार हटा दो, बाद में देखा जाएगा. तो इस तरीके से, जिस तरीके से मध्य प्रदेश में 2.25 करोड़ वोटर थे और तकरीबन 1 करोड़ वोटरों को पैसे बांट दिए गए, तो इससे बेहतर क्या होगा कि घर में पैसे आ ही रहे हैं तो किसको बुरे लगते हैं. वोट तो ही देना है, किसी को भी देना है, उनको देना है, इनको देना है, आपको दे दिए, क्या दिक्कत है.
एक बात बस कहना चाहता था. देखिए, बड़ा क्योंकि उन्होंने बहुत मूल प्रश्न उठाया ट्रांजिशन का, परिवर्तन का, बदलाव का, तब्दीली का. अब ये तौर तरीके होते हैं, पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज इसको रीड करती हैं. तो बेसिकली अब एक ज़माना था, हम लोगों ने रिपोर्टिंग की तो रात को शराब बटती थी. सभी जान लो, आप लोग जानते हैं, हमारे दोस्त तेजेंद्र साहब पुलिस वाले बड़े अफसर बैठे हैं, रात को कैश बटता था. ठीक है, अब वो भी बांट लो और सीधे कैश ट्रांसफर. तो घर में भी पैसा आ रहा है, साथ में शराब आ रही है. इसको थोड़ा चुनाव करीब आते होते और सिस्टमाइज कर दो और एक्टिवेट कर दो. तो उस वाले वोटर की, तो अगर आप उसको 25 साल पहले की स्थिति से उसकी तुलना करें तो उसकी तो अब मौज है, क्योंकि उसको जैसे कोई भी चुनाव, ये अजीब मुल्क है. ऐसे मुल्क, इस मुल्क की कहानियां बड़ी अजीब है, जब बाहर में लोगों को सुनाता हूँ अपने लेक्चर्स में. मतलब इस मुल्क, ये ऐसा मुल्क है जहाँ हर 2 महीने पे कोई ना कोई चुनाव होता ही है. कभी चुनाव मोड से बाहर आता ही नहीं है देश. तो राजनीति भी होती ही रहती है. तो ऐसे जनधन का पैसा भी बढ़ता रहता है, डायरेक्ट ट्रांसफर भी. सो दीज आर द न्यू मेथडोलॉजीज, एज she was pointing out, that have been adopted, and see, they're very effective. So you don't have to go to really the ground to give it to them. You use the technology to hand it to them, and it could be the woman itself.
In the recent, in the Karnataka election, one of the things that was promised to women if Congress came to power was free bus tickets. Now you may think it's a very small thing, but if you count going, coming every day, so they made little case studies of women who were saying, I'm saving 2,000 bucks a month. With this, I can buy so many more things for my family, to eat, to whatever. So it got then copied in Telangana. So this is a new thing, you know, specifically for women. So I was happy to see at least small things they're addressing her. And yeah, 1 kg of rice or something. So small welfare schemes coming. But of course, I think BJP's cracked that game.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my name is Amit. I'm a law professor. My first question, very short and direct to Abhigyan, and then Professor Shastri and Brajesh both. So a lot of books we see where people have actually shown that post 2000, you have the managers and the brands managing the election on behalf of the politicians. Okay, and we have the data and the books coming that these agencies are working for the politicians for the electoral politics. Okay, but now when we see that these politics becoming the business and the people winning election, now they must do something to fulfill the profit. Now we don't see any books, kind of people showing the data that this much they have lost in the election, this much they have spent in the election, now they are going to plundering this much to fulfill the gap of the business. Yeah.
Okay, but I'll try and give you the sense of it.
So second question direct to
देखिए राजनीति में कोई पहले आप अगर मेरा उत्तर जो सुनना चाहेंगे तो आप पहले उनको सुनने कोई दिक्कत नहीं जहां तक मेरा अपना तजुर्बा है और 2.5 दशक के करीब का तजुर्बा है सरकारों को देखने का नेताओं को देखने का तो एक बात तो मैं आपको ठोक के कह सकता हूं और कभी मैं राजनीति में आया तो मैं भी वैसे हो जाऊंगा तो राजनीति में कोई राष्ट्र निर्माण और समाज कल्याण के लिए नहीं आता तो एकदम क्लियर कर लीजिए अपने दिमाग में कोई नहीं आता ठीक है अब आता क्या है के लिए पावर आएगी तो मजा आएगा पावर आएगी तो पैसा आएगा तो यही पूछना चाह रहे हैं ना आप कि फलाना एजेंसी अरे भाई हिंदी का आपसे सवाल जो उत्तर दे रहा हो एजेंसी पे इनकी एजेंसी को हायर करने में मतलब जो कांग्रेस की जो हालत थी 2004 में क्या हुआ होगा फिर इनकी एजेंसी को बाद में जब कांग्रेस की सरकार आई होगी तो किसी ना किसी फॉर्म में कुछ ना कुछ काम तो दिए गए होंगे ना इनको बड़े बड़े कैंपेन्स तो ये तो असंभव है गिव एंड टेक की दुनिया है तो वो बेचारा जो जिसने चुनाव लड़ा है अच्छा इलेक्शन कॉन्फ़िगरेशन के कैप से तो कोई चुनाव होता नहीं है उससे 5 times 10 times more expensive the election is where does that money come from so wherever that money comes from it has to be re-earned and the method of re-earning the money is you know what you've got to get some work done you have to be benefited in some way or the other your party has to take care of you in some way or the other then a set of politicians jostle and really fight among each other to become ministers if they don't become ministers they sulk so all this drama happens that is politics so if they've done it to win an election then obviously they'll do it to also get their pound of flesh back because what they've done the party is not paying for it the party hiring someone at a larger level is a different story and an individual is a different story.
You want to add something?
मैं आपको यही कहना चाहूँगा आपने चुनाव पे बहुत किताबें पढ़ी होंगी हमने भी बहुत किताबें पढ़ी मगर किसी चुनाव की किताब में ये नहीं लिखा होता कि पैसा कहाँ से कहाँ जाता है कैसे सप्लाई होता है एक तरीका तो सिर्फ ये होता है कि अकाउंट्स खोल के खाते में डाल दिया जाता है जो प्रत्याशी होता है और मगर आप ये भी देखिए कि चुनाव लड़ने के लिए कितने लोग आते हैं इस भोपाल माने मध्य प्रदेश के चुनाव में 5,000 से ज़्यादा आवेदन आए थे मैडम मैं सही बोल रहा हूँ कितनी सीटों के लिए 130 सीटों के लिए है ना तो इतनी कम सीटों के लिए इतने ज़्यादा 5,000 तो आते क्यों हैं आते ये हैं कि जिसको टिकट मिल जाती है 230 सीट हैं तो जिसको टिकट मिल जाती है तो फिर उसकी मौज हो जाती है तो मौज ऐसे होती है कि उसको काफ़ी सारा पैसा पार्टी देती है अब पार्टी कैसे देती है उसके कई तरीके होते हैं तो ये पैसा तो बढ़ता ही है और बढ़ता है जो एजेंसियों की बात की जा रही है एजेंसी को भी यदि चुनाव पार्टी जीत गई तब तो पैसे मिल जाएंगे नहीं तो बकाया के लिए चक्कर लगाते रहते हैं मगर
I think Jayshree has a point to say because she has written elaborately on that.
Yes, I want to say. 2 things I want to say. One is, people are saying, why should external people come? Look,
every big company, whether it is Lever, whether it is Procter & Gamble, whether it is Dabur, you are not an expert in everything. You do your marketing job, your communication job, someone else does. That is why they get hired for a fee. In 2004, we were dead scared, okay? When I rang up my boss in Bombay and said, we've got a call, he said, first thing you have to go and tell them that we will work on this, but we want all check payments. And I said, it's nice for you sitting in Bombay. I have to go and face these people. He said, so what? Go and talk to them. So I took a meeting with Salman Khurshid at India International Center, and I didn't know him. And I asked for a meeting, so I met him, and he said, so what can I do for you? So I said, I'm coming straight to the point. In Sitaram Kesri's time, I wasn't in the agency at that time, there was some experience of cash dealing and, you know, exactly like he's saying, if they have not won, go to that village, udhar ek gani sack mein kuch paisa. Said, we are a multinational agency. We get audited worldwide, globally. We need check payments. And he said, his answer to me, I remember, we've just done a website. We're pretty clean now. You put it up in your terms and conditions. And I've written this in my book. And the thing is, what really went well for us was the EC made a diktat that all media has to be paid with a check. So I'm booking an ad in Times of India. The release order goes with the check for the ad. And that is what we took to the Congress. If you don't give us the money in advance, no ad of yours is going to come out. Even the television said that. So between the Supreme Court and the EC, 2004, we got every bit of money. I remember I was in a meeting and we were hungry. So we said, let's order Subway sandwiches. I said, I'll pay for it, for everyone. And I remember some guy, Mr. Shamim, I don't know if you all know him, he works with Salman Khurshid. He said, don't bribe us. He's telling me, we can pay for the Subway sandwiches. It was as clean as that. So, you know, when I have had an experience that was good, I want to talk about it. Because otherwise it's always, they're also dirty, they're also filthy. I had told my finance guy, I said, finance head, I said, you better beware. I'm sure someone is going to take you in a room somewhere and they're going to say, Acha, now let's discuss cuts. And he was very scared when he went to collect the first check, but nothing happened. So, not even 10% of India shining, but it was many crores of rupees. Okay? It wasn't 2 rupees.
Sir, can we go to somebody else because we are running out of time? Yes, ma'am. 1 and 2, these would be the last 2 questions.
Thank you for giving me time. Politics and society both evolve over time. So there's nothing new. I repeat, there's nothing new which BJP has done. You mentioned 2 things, direct benefit transfer and mobilization of women. Direct benefit transfer was started under the Manmohan Singh government. We are all bureaucrats, we are some bureaucrats sitting here. Anil is sitting here, my colleague, Mr. Rawat, my esteemed colleague, is sitting here. I'm telling you, let me continue. That there were direct benefit transfers even then. Women's involvement, special self-help groups were set up. There was this scheme called livelihood scheme in which women were directly targeted. The problem is with time, this is increased, the volume has increased, and the press won't report it that this is nothing new, it started then, and we are doing it a little more better, and optics again has a role to play.
आप लोगों ने कांग्रेस ने सब कुछ किया, सफाई की, पैसे खाते में पहुंचाए, मगर आप लोगों ने जो नहीं किया वो ये कि बार बार उस हितग्राही को बताना कि मैंने तुमको दिया, मैंने तुम्हारी दुनिया बदली, तुमको घर मिला, तुमको अनाज मिला, तुमको मुफ्त ये मिला. आप लोगों ने कभी ये नहीं कहा और ये लगातार हॉन्ट करती है बीजेपी, लगातार.
We said we have to do it, it's our duty, so we did it.
No, even in the house, Modi got up and said the same about Narega. But I'll give you one incident in 10 seconds. I was shocked in an Uttarakhand election as traveling. और वो जो अनाज का बैग था,
उसमें मोदी का फोटो होता है,
उसमें मोदी का फोटो होता है, on
आवाज
one
होता है,
side,
उसपे टाइल्स
and
होती
on
हैं.
the other side is the photo of the chief minister or whoever is
minister.
Congress chief minister or no, where they have a chief minister, they put the photo. Sometimes they don't have chief minister. So these are obviously, that's, as you said, second part. That's the optics of it. So they take benefit of that.
लास्ट क्वेश्चन. हाँ सर, शुभ संध्या. मेरा नाम भारत सूरज है सर. मीडिया पर मेरा सवाल होगा, क्योंकि मैं अभिज्ञान सर से और ब्रजेश सर से स्पेसिफिकली ये मेरा सवाल होगा. क्योंकि अभिज्ञान सर, आपने एक चीज़ बोली कि भाजपा का सबसे जो पावर है, दो चीज़ें हैं, एक तो संघ और दूसरा है एक ऑप्टिक्स जो भाजपा क्रिएट करती है अपने इर्द गिर्द. उस ऑप्टिक्स को बनाने में सर मीडिया का भी बहुत बड़ा रोल होता है और हम लोग इसको दरकिनार नहीं कर सकते. आप खुद, आपके पास मीडिया का बहुत लंबा अनुभव है. और एक आखिरी बात जो अभी चर्चा चल रही थी मैम के जवाब पर, कि आपने काम तो बहुत किया कांग्रेस को लेकर, लेकिन आपने बताया नहीं कि हमने ये किया. सर, ये बताने वाला जो काम है, ये ऑप्टिक्स क्रिएट करने वाला, ये हम अभी के दौर में मीडिया को देख रहे हैं ये करते हुए. तो मीडिया का कितना बड़ा रोल है सर चुनावों को प्रभावित करने में? ये सवाल होगा जी, आपसे है और ब्रजेश सर से, दोनों से सर.
नहीं, मेरे हिसाब से तो पहली चीज, उनके पास मीडिया है और वो उसको दबंगई से इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं. ठीक है, तो ना तो मैं कोई टेलीविजन चैनल देखता हूँ, ना मेरा दिमाग खराब हो गया कि मैं कोई न्यूज़ चैनल देखूँ. 25 साल उसमें काम करने के बाद, और मैं 27 साल की उम्र में संपादक हो गया था मुंबई में. तो मेरी अब अपना आकलन है, किसी को बुरा नहीं लगना चाहिए, तो कि कोई बिल्कुल ही दिमागी तौर पर असंतुलित होगा जो आजकल का न्यूज़ चैनल देखेगा. तो वो उनके लिए है, वो उसमें अपना चलाते हैं, उनकी उसकी ऑप्टिक्स चलती है. आपको अपना कॉन्फ़िगरेशन करना है. सो दैट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. उन, जहाँ तक मीडिया का सवाल है, वो बताते हैं, वो सुबह से रात तक भाई उनका अगर कोई कार्यक्रम है तो वो वैसे ही चलता है, उसी के इर्द गिर्द कार्यक्रम बनाए जाते हैं. तो ये सब कुछ है. इसीलिए digital has popped up so fast and so quickly, because that was an alternative. People were getting irritated with that. Now, if that is also stopped, I really don't know. I have no idea yet about it. तो मेरे लिए तो मीडिया अब कोई विषय बचा ही नहीं है बात करने का, जिसका जो हाल है भाई. बट एक चीज़ बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग आपको बता दूं, 10 सेकंड में, फिर ब्रजेश में उनको सुनना चाहूँगा. ये अब मीडिया को लेकर वरिड है. मेरा मतलब सत्ता पक्ष और इनके लोग, और ये मैं पक्के तौर पर जानता हूँ. जानते क्यों? क्योंकि ये इतनी एडवर्टाइजिंग की इतनी सीनियर एग्जीक्यूटिव बैठी हैं. देखिए, अगर किसी प्लेटफॉर्म की विश्वसनीयता ही गिर जाए, होर्डिंग जो लगी है उसी में छेद हो जाए, तो कहाँ तक विज्ञापन लगाओगे उसमें? तो ये इस 2024 में इनके पर्दों के पीछे के डिस्कशन का हिस्सा है. ये मैं आपको बता सकता हूँ कि भाई, अब जैसे आपने चैनल खोला, फला आदमी है, उसको बोलना है जिसकी जय बोलना है. सो व्हेन यू लूज द क्रेडिबिलिटी, दैट्स द रिवर्स ऑफ इट. Then there is also a problem. She'll tell you as an advertising person. Then there is also a problem that overuse of the platform can negatively hurt you. And there are specific examples in Indian politics which show that. So that also could be a problem, because there is surely overuse, or usse there's a massive irritation in a certain segment. BJP की effectivity आज भी मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ, मीडिया से कहीं ज़्यादा है, जो ब्रजेश राजपूत ने सही कहा, लोगों तक पहुंच के बताने की आज भी.
मैं भी यही कहूँगा कि उनके पास सिर्फ मीडिया नहीं है, उनके पास सब कुछ है. उनके पास ब्यूरोक्रेसी है, उनके पास कोर्ट है, उनके पास सुप्रीम कोर्ट है. कोर्ट सारी सुनवाई वैसे ही करती है जैसी होना चाहिए, मगर फैसले वैसे ही देती है जैसे वो चाहते हैं. वैसे मीडिया है, मीडिया बिहेव कर रहा है. मैं तो खुद मीडिया से जुड़ा हूँ, अभिज्ञान तो बाहर हो गए, मीडिया से मुझे छोड़ गए हैं, तो मैं तो मीडिया में हूँ और महसूस कर रहा हूँ कि मीडिया वैसा नहीं बचा. मगर जैसा कि मैडम ने कहा था कि कोई पहली दफ़ा नहीं हुआ. हमने राजीव गांधी का काल आपने नहीं देखा होगा, हम लोगों ने देखा है. राजीव गांधी जब 84 में आए थे तो जो हमारा दूरदर्शन था उसको राजीव दर्शन कहा जाने लगा था, है ना. वो राजीव दर्शन नाम हो गया क्योंकि उसमें सुबह से शाम तक राजीव गांधी चलते थे. तो उन्होंने तो दूरदर्शन पर कब्जा किया था. मगर अभी जो आलम है, यहाँ तो सारे दर्शन एक ही व्यक्ति के दर्शन हो गए. दूसरी बात, पहले पॉलिटिक्स होती थी मुद्दों की, अब पॉलिटिक्स हो गई इवेंट की. हम लोग पहले रिपोर्टिंग करते थे, अब हम लोग इवेंट कवर करते हैं. पहले हम लोग रिपोर्टिंग के लिए जाते थे, स्टोरी करने जाते थे, अब हम लोग इवेंट का कवरेज करने जाते हैं. और वो सरकार इतनी होशियार है, वो हर रोज़ एक नया इवेंट देती है, हर रोज़ एक नया इवेंट देती है. उस इवेंट के साथ एक ऐड देती है, उस ऐड के साथ एक बाध्यता होती है, कल आपको कवर करना है.
Friends, I wish we could have stretched this discussion on, but we have to close it. We are already 5 minutes beyond our time. So I hand it over to the organizers.
Check.
Thank you so much, sir. I would also like to thank Abhigyan sir, Jayshree ma'am, Brajesh sir, and once again Sandeep sir for this enlightening session on the intricacies of victories and losses with elections and the politics behind it. As a token of our gratitude, I would like to request Mr. Devendra Kumar Mehta, Secretary, Society for Culture and Environment, to present our panelists with mementos. The memento is the mascot of BLF 2024 and is developed by senior Gond artist Sri Ram Singh Urveti ji. It reflects a motif rooted in timeless stories. With vibrant strokes, Ram Singh ji brings to life swaying trees on mythical forms, echoing the melodies of Barndev, the revered musical instrument of the Pardhan Gonds. The particular piece chosen for this year highlights how ideas that BLF also helps spread take root as seeds and grow into beautiful, luscious and sturdy trees, spreading their influence all around them. We'd like to thank you all once again for this enlightening session. Please can we have a round of applause for them? Thank you so much, everyone. For the audience now, we have one question since we've been talking about politics so much. And this is a literature festival. So one question from the Conference of Literature and Politics. What book am I talking about? It is a satirical